Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Doesn't it feel like each week is just better than the last? I mean, guys, what an unbelievable weekend of college football. A weekend where we saw 6 ranked teams lose. A weekend where we saw history that was made, both good and bad. A weekend where the majority of the teams completed a quarter of their games this season. And a lot of questions were answered, and a lot of questions were formed, especially for some of the top teams in the country. So guys, we are here to break down everything that happened in week 3 of college football. Again, a season that has been unreal so far. As always, guys, before we get started, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. We have a lot of offers down there, a lot of exclusive content down there for you guys, namely our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. So sign up for those today. Our picks come out every single week for both college and NFL, and they're some of the best in the entire country. And that is how we'll start our video today. You take a look at our numbers from this last week, guys. We're killing it, especially on the money line. 42-9 in week 3. I believe last week we were like 49-6. So we are killing it on the money line, straight up games. 137-28 on the year so far, quarter of the way through the season technically, which is good for 83%. And our benchmark here is always 77%, so we like where we are right now as we continue to head through this season. Against the spread, breaking even again, 5-5. Obviously, we want to be better, 6-4, 7-3, however it is, but we're still above 500, and that is the important thing. 51.5% on the year. We can guarantee it will be much higher than that by the end of the season. And again, we are one of the few analysts out in the country right now that have a record above 500. So again, sign up for those expert picks today, not just for college, but for NFL as well. So those are our week 3 numbers. Again, if you want to take advantage of those, go sign up for the expert picks. All of that can be found on our website, thegridironexpert.com. And for those of you that signed up, I know you can all agree, it's absolutely worth it. One of the best decisions you'll make all year long. So let's dive into the week 3 headlines real quick. We take a look at some games that we're not going to talk fully on, but we need to address. First things first, how about Louisville? How about the Cardinals taking down UCF in arguably, right now, the game of the year? Louisville and UCF could go down as one of the top games of the year. The Cardinals taking down the Knights 42-35 on a pick 6 with just 13 seconds left in the game. An unreal ending for Scott Satterfield and the Cardinals in what felt like a must-win for Scott Satterfield and the Cardinals. And got the job done in the final seconds, and that might give the Cardinals a huge momentum boost as they prepare to go in to ACC conference play. How about Michigan State taking down number 24 Miami on the road 38-17? The Spartans have been a major surprise this season, guys. They have shocked everybody. Dominating victory over Northwestern, and now dominating victory on the road against a ranked Miami team where the Spartans forced 4 turnovers on the Hurricanes and racked up 454 yards of offense. This Michigan State team, guys, might be for real. They might be for real. We thought, hey, maybe they could go bowling. We didn't have them going bowling. We thought they might contend a little bit, but they are obviously exceeding expectations from everybody with this 3-0 start. Mel Tucker doing amazing things in East Lansing. Western Michigan, how about them? They stunned Pittsburgh. The Panthers, who looked great in their first 2 games, went on the road and took down Tennessee, lost at home to the Broncos out of the MAC 44-41 in a game that featured over 1,000 yards of offense. Again, guys, this is why college football is so great, and this is why college football is so unpredictable. You look at these 2 teams, a Western Michigan team that got nailed, murdered by Michigan, now comes on the road to Pittsburgh. Do we think Pittsburgh would kill them like Michigan did? No, but do we think they'd win? Yeah, and they didn't. Defense was usually one of the best in the country, could not stop the Broncos. Again, college football. Gotta love it. Florida State, you're not loving college football if you're the Seminoles. The Seminoles are 0-3 now for the first time since 1976. They fell to Wake Forest 35-14 in week 3. Fell to the Demon Deacons 35-14. Had no answer for that Demon Deacons offense led by Sam Hartman. Again, 0-3 for the first time since 1976, which also happened to be Bobby Bowden's first year. Do we think Mike Norvell has the same fate in store as Bobby Bowden? Absolutely not. He will be gone by the end of the year. And then we took a look at a couple other teams real quick. Number 21, North Carolina and Virginia. The Tar Heels won that game by 20, 59-39, but the game was amazing because of the amount of offense that was displayed. Over 1,200 yards of combined offense. Brennan Armstrong for the Cavaliers, 553 passing yards in that game against the Tar Heels. So yes, UNC won, but the defense still has a lot of questions. Same can be said for Clemson, not necessarily defensively, but offensively, only beating Georgia Tech 14-8. And then, of course, finally, USC taking down Washington State in their first game without Clay Helton. The Trojans started very slow, but defeated the Cougars 45-14. So a lot of big headlines, guys. Those are games that we didn't even talk about that much, but things you need to know as we go into Week 4 that you need to know coming out of Week 3. We'll take a look at the big games of the week, and we'll start with the top-ranked team in number 3, Oklahoma, who took down Nebraska. Big-time rivalry game, old Big 12 matchup, took down Nebraska 23-16, and I'll say they did it unimpressively. Oklahoma has failed to impress anyone this season. The narrow victory over Tulane, congrats, you beat Western Carolina last week, no one cares. You got a chance to take down a bad Nebraska team on your home turf, and you let the Cornhuskers hang around, only beat them by 7. You allowed 384 yards of offense. The best and most memorable play of this entire game was DJ Graham's one-handed interception off of Adrian Martinez, and while that was a fantastic play, it didn't benefit the Sooners at all because it was 4th down. If he had just batted the ball down, the Sooners would have had better field position instead of starting their drive in the shadow of their own end zone. So great play, unbelievable play, maybe one of the best plays of the year, but didn't do him any good. 23-16 over a bad Nebraska team, guys. And you can't help but wonder, is Oklahoma going to have the horses? Are they going to have the talent and the stamina to hang with some of the better teams in the country? Because a lot of people have this as a playoff team. But right now, if Oklahoma runs the table in the Big 12, and they very well could, they will get obliterated by whoever they face in the college football playoffs, just like they have every other year, with the exception of that Rose Bowl against Georgia. So the Sooners, yes, they are 3-0. Yes, they beat Nebraska. They have a lot of work to do because they're not winning impressively. How about number 8, Cincinnati? A dark horse for the playoff if they can go undefeated. They needed this win over Indiana, and they got it. They took down the Hoosiers 38-24, and that win alone, guys, keeps their playoff hopes alive. Cincinnati, one loss, and they're done. And we knew they had to win at Indiana, and they have to win at Notre Dame. And that game, of course, will be played on October 2nd. Bearcats get a bye week in Week 4. But they trailed, guys. The Bearcats, they trailed 14-0. They were down 14-0, but it was quickly 14-10 at halftime. Luke Fickell's squad never gave up. They outscored the Hoosiers 15-0 in the fourth quarter, ended up winning by 14. This team's legit, guys. They're legit offensively. They're legit defensively. They forced 4 Indiana turnovers. The Bearcats are the real deal. And that game against Notre Dame in Week 5, that's going to be really, really fun to watch. And if the Bearcats win that, watch out. Then they deserve a lot more respect. They deserve it now. They deserve the respect now. They're not getting it. They beat Notre Dame. They will get it. How about West Virginia? How about the Mountaineers? You know, a lot of people thought we were crazy for picking against Virginia Tech, the 15th ranked team in the country. And we said, no, we feel good about the Mountaineers. We feel that the Mountaineers are going to take back the Black Diamond Trophy. And they did in a thriller. They beat the Hokies 27-21. And for a while, it looked like nothing was going to come of this. West Virginia was up 24-7 at half. They were up 27-7 in the third. Look, the Mountaineers were going to run away with it. But Justin Fuente's squad battled back. They clawed back. 2 quick touchdowns made it 27-21. The Hokies got all the way down to the West Virginia 3-yard line in the red zone. 3-yard line with 2 minutes left. And the West Virginia defense held strong. Goal line stand. And the Mountaineers walked away with the Black Diamond Trophy. Unbelievable game. Unbelievable defensive performance. Unbelievable performance from Letty Brown. How about that? 161 rushing yards and a touchdown for the Mountaineers. And this Mountaineers defense held the Hokies to just 329 yards on the day. This is a very balanced West Virginia squad, guys. We said this was a team that we thought could make a run and a push in the Big 12 kind of as a dark horse. The Mountaineers get Oklahoma next week, and that's a game you need to watch out for. Maybe the Sooners light them up, but I wouldn't bank on that. Bank on the Mountaineers giving them their all because this is a team that's balanced offensively and has always been good defensively under Neil Brown, and that showed on Saturday against Virginia Tech. How about the Swamp? Number 1 Alabama taking down number 11 Florida 31-29. I think that game was a lot closer than people expected. And it didn't look like it was going to be. Very similar to the West Virginia Tech game. Alabama jumped out to a 21-3 first quarter lead. At the end of the first quarter, the Crimson Tide were up 21-3, and it looked like Alabama was going to do what they did best and just run away with the game. And it was going to be another story of, they're playing a ranked team on the road. It could be close, and Alabama wasn't going to let it happen. But give credit to Dan Mullen and the Gators guys. Give credit, more than anything, the defense. Because after that, 21-3, Alabama was outscored 26-10 the rest of the game. Because the Gators only lost 31-29. They were outscored 20-7 in the second and third quarters. Florida got a touchdown with 3:10 left, but their two-point conversion, a poor two-point conversion play call, I should add, was stuffed, and the Gators were unable to get the ball back, and they fell by 2. Bryce Young, an unbelievable performance. We all questioned how well was he going to play in his first true road test, a hostile road test at that, as the Swamp is one of the most difficult places to play in the country. He threw for 240 yards and 3 touchdowns. Emory Jones only threw for 195 yards and an interception, but I want to give credit to Florida's offense for exploiting what I thought was one of the better defenses in the country. Florida's offense put up 440 yards, including 245 rushing yards. 245 rushing yards on mighty Alabama, and only fell to them by 2. So, maybe the Gators are for real in the sense of, hey, maybe they finally do have a better defense than we thought. Then they just choose to wake up. They can run against the best of the best. Maybe they will give Georgia a run for their money later on in October. Don't sleep on the Gators, guys. They are far from out after that very impressive performance against Alabama despite the loss. I want to touch quickly on what happened in Columbus on Saturday. Number 9, Ohio State, taking down Tulsa 41-20. All the credit in the world to TreVeyon Henderson. He's the only reason Ohio State won this game. 277 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns for TreVeyon Henderson. So an unbelievable performance from him. 3 touchdowns, Ohio State won by 21, 41-20. So without him, who knows what could happen. But Ohio State, like Clemson, impressed nobody. Ohio State's not impressing anyone. They got torched on the ground against Minnesota. They got torched on the ground against Oregon and lost that game. And here against Tulsa, they were only leading by 7 early in the fourth quarter and allowed over 500 yards of offense to the Golden Hurricane. Is that a playoff team to you? No. Is that a Big Ten championship team to you? No, it's not. Right now, Penn State is the best team in the Big Ten East. And you have a team like Iowa in the West that's looking pretty solid. A team like Wisconsin that couldn't make another late push towards the year. Michigan State rising out of nowhere. Michigan rising out of nowhere. Ohio State does not look good. They looked horrible on defense for the 3rd straight week. C.J. Stroud continues to struggle. Just 185 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And yes, I know Henderson carried most of the workload there. But Ohio State does not look like a good team right now. And they're about to enter the bulk of Big Ten Conference play, where yes, their biggest threat will be the likes of Penn State, maybe Michigan State, Michigan, guys like that. And yes, Ohio State probably will win the majority of those games. But, like Oklahoma, if Ohio State slips into the playoff, or if Ohio State faces a team like Iowa or maybe Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game, will the Buckeyes be able to take them down? Will Ohio State be able to hang with the best of the best? And by that, we mean the likes of right now, Alabama, Georgia, and let's go ahead and throw Oregon in there because the Buckeyes couldn't even take them down. Ohio State, Clemson, and a handful of others, even Oklahoma, have a lot of work to do despite being legitimate top 10 teams. Speaking of Penn State, we said that the best team in the Big Ten East, that showed. That showed on Saturday night in Happy Valley. The big whiteout game against number 22 Auburn, and the Nittany Lions won that game 28-20. This was one of the better games of the weekend, one of the better games of the night. Penn State beating them 28-20 in a game that I thought was very even. This was 2 very evenly matched teams, 2 good defenses, 2 good offenses, and Penn State benefited from that whiteout game. And say what you want. All everybody in the comments was like, the whiteout game means nothing. It does. Home field advantage counts for something, and the whiteout game absolutely counts for something. And at the end of the day, guys, the crowd played a major role, and Sean Clifford, simply to me, outplayed Bo Nix. Sean Clifford went 28 for 32. 28 for 32 passing. Had 280 yards. Had 2 touchdowns. Bo Nix had 185 yards. That's it. Sean Clifford played lights out football. And that one interception that he had, which goes as an incompletion, came at the very end of the half. Auburn picked it off. He got hit as he threw. Probably would have been a touchdown had to be able to get his feet under it, full strength. It was intercepted. Auburn kneeled it. They went to halftime. So yes, it counts, but didn't do anything bad. It was detrimental to Penn State. The Nittany Lions looked like a dang good football team. A dang good football team. And like their game against Wisconsin, there were moments where Auburn was knocking at the door and Penn State's defense held strong. And that really was the case at the end of the game, where Auburn got all the way down to the 2-yard line. Auburn got down to the 2-yard line, and Penn State's defense held strong, got a turnover on downs, was able to run out the majority of the clock. Auburn got one last shot. Their last-ditch effort from the Penn State 26 fell incomplete, and the Nittany Lions walked away with a quality win over a top 25 SEC opponent. All the credit in the world to Auburn. They played good football. But we said they hadn't played anybody. We did not feel confident that they would come into Penn State, come into Happy Valley, and win that game. They didn't. The Nittany Lions are for real. And yes, they are legitimate college football playoff contenders. 2 more games left. Late night games. If you were able to stay up after the Penn State-Auburn game, you may have seen these, and I hope you did. Number 23, BYU, taking down number 19, Arizona State by 10, 27-17. And this was not the most exciting of games at all. BYU jumped out to an early 21-7 lead. Arizona State clawed their way back. It's 21-17. The turning point in this game, though, guys, was near the end of the third quarter when Jaron Hall threw an interception, and Merlin Robertson for Arizona State was streaking down the sideline, looked like he was going to get a pick 6. All momentum was in favor of the Sun Devils. A touchdown would have given them the lead. Even if he had been stopped, just tackled, Arizona State probably would have scored a touchdown or at the least a field goal to make it a 1-point game. And who knows what would happen in the fourth quarter. But what we saw on that play showed why you never, ever, ever give up on a play. Tyler Algier, the running back for BYU, tracking down Robertson, flying through the air, tomahawk punching that ball out of Robertson's hand, forcing a fumble. The ball was recovered by BYU. That play saved at least 3 points, maybe even more. It definitely saved a touchdown. If Algier just tackled him, Arizona State would have gotten something out of that. But he forced the ball out, didn't give up on the play. BYU recovered. They didn't get anything out of it. They didn't score on the next drive or anything, but it saved points. And ultimately, BYU and the Cougars won by 10. So an unbelievable effort by Algier, an unbelievable effort by the Cougars, an unbelievable defensive effort by BYU, who forced 4 turnovers in this game. The Cougars are legit, guys. They're 3-0. They've won all 3 games against Pac-12 opponents, Arizona, Utah, and now Arizona State. The last 2 being ranked teams. BYU is legit. Big-time win for Kalani Sitake and the Cougars. And then finally, let's stick in the Pac-12 because it always gets wild out west after dark. Fresno State stunning number 13 UCLA 40-37. 40-37. How about Jake Haener? Jake Haener. He is the player of the week for me. Out of all the games we watched, out of all the games that were played, Jake Haener is the man. Pushing through the pain to lead the Bulldogs to a 40-37 upset victory, throwing for 455 yards, 455 yards and 2 touchdowns, including the game winner with 14 seconds left. This guy was getting hit left and right. He took a horrible hip injury later on in the game and yet stayed in 455 yards against a good UCLA defense. Game winner, beautiful pass, corner of the end zone, 14 seconds left, and the Bulldogs won. And they are maybe the favorite now in the Mountain West Conference. And they shocked the nation. Remember, this is the same Fresno State team, guys, that just a few weeks ago nearly took down Oregon. Oregon needed a late touchdown with under 3 minutes left to escape the Bulldogs. They fell short against Oregon. They didn't fall short against the Bruins. And at the Rose Bowl, the Bulldogs shocked the nation, not just from the amazing performance from Haener, but how about their defense, holding UCLA to just 117 rushing yards. UCLA, that was their strength, was just running the ball. 117 rushing yards. The Bruins had no answer for their offense. Neither did the Bulldogs, but ultimately it was Haener that made the final play of the game. The final play that was the 4th lead change in the final 7.5 minutes. 4 lead changes in the final 7.5 minutes. But the Bulldogs got the win. UCLA falls, and it was just ended up being a bad day for the Pac-12 South. Arizona State goes down. UCLA goes down. Those were the top 2 favorites, obviously. You have Colorado going down in shutout fashion to Minnesota. The Pac-12 South not looking too hot. And again, the only team out of that conference that has a shot at the playoff is Oregon. And Ducks got a long ways to go before that can happen. So there you go, guys. Week 3 of college football. Week 3 of college football. Again, it's unbelievable to me that every week seems to be better than the last. Week 1 was amazing. Then Week 2 was amazing. Now Week 3 is amazing. We're seeing crazy upsets. We're seeing historical moments. We're seeing performances like Hayner's left and right. And this, to me, really is shaping up to be one of the wildest college football seasons that we have ever seen. Because none of these games make sense. None of these performances make sense. But personally, the unpredictability and the wildness and the insanity, I wouldn't have it any other way. This season is shaping up to be something very, very special, guys. We're technically a quarter of the way through. Most teams have played 3 games of 12, but obviously there's a lot of football left to be played, and the season really is just getting started. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below, especially signing up for those expert picks. All those picks can be found on our website, thegridironexpert.com. It's one of the best decisions you'll make this entire season. It's a year-long subscription. Some of the best picks in the country. Do not miss out on it. Again, the link down in the description below. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.